Hey, Samford fans, I'm John McAfoose with the latest episode of The New Normal, where we're bringing you interviews with Samford coaches, athletes, and fans about the impact of COVID-19. And today I'm happy to be joined by a member of the Samford women's basketball team, Olivia Crozier. And Olivia, I know things are as crazy as ever for you right now, but thanks for taking some time.
Oh, you're welcome. No problem. I'm glad to be here.
Well, for those that don't know, you started as a nurse at UAB Hospital this week, and we're going to get into that momentarily. But let's start with basketball season. You were one of the 8 seniors on this year's SoCon championship team that unfortunately did not get to participate in March Madness like you were expecting. You were all off campus for a week when this kind of all trickled in. So I'm sure you originally found out, through social media or a text from a teammate. But when that news started to trickle in, what was your reaction and thought process?
At first I was like, I really don't know if they're going to cancel the NCAA tournament just because it's such a big thing. But at the same time, I knew how other things were unfolding, like NBA canceling and stuff. So I was like, man, if they cancel, we're probably going to get canceled. They had dwindled down to where it was just going to be a couple family members or something per person, which I thought was going to be a good idea because you could still kind of keep that social distancing, trying to tell people, hey, try and sit so far away from everybody, but like, let's make this an experience. But then I got the text message sent in our group message as a team, and it kind of just hit me like, wow, did this really actually just happen? Like, this is crazy, And at first I honestly started crying because, it's something you work for so long, and like being a senior, that was, the only chance. But at the same time, it's out of my control, and there's nothing I can do about it. So,
all student athletes lead really busy lives, obviously, but I've got to imagine that for you, that the past few years have been very hectic. On top of being a D1 athlete, you're in nursing school, you're doing clinicals, and that's a very heavy workload. But that experience is so invaluable, and I'm sure that you feel much more prepared for your career in the real world because of that.
oh, for sure. I mean, clinical, a normal day for me was going to clinical at first for 8 hours, and then coming back and practicing for, a couple more hours, trying to get homework done, sleeping for a few hours, waking back up, going to clinical. But my last semester, I was in my preceptorship in the ER at St. Vincent's East, and I was night shift. So there was a couple days where I was up for 26 hours before I finally got to go to bed. I did an interview on like 45 minutes of sleep one time. It was really, really crazy. But at the same time, like preparing me for the real world, if I can stay up for 26 hours straight and, still perform and be sane, I can go through a 12-hour shift, no problem. And I really think, honestly, now I'm going to sit around and be like, I have all this free time. What am I supposed to do? I'm so used to always studying, always, being with basketball or in clinical. And if I'm not doing any of those, I'm either eating or sleeping, like that's all I really had time for. And I can thank my support system there, in academics, like my teammates, my coaches, always believing in me, but also on the other side, like all my professors always encouraging me and saying, like, we don't know how you do what you do, but we are always here if you ever need our help. So I couldn't have done it without a support system like that. So.
And you started work as a nurse at UAB Hospital just this week on Monday. Just walk us through what your first week on the job was like, what some of your roles and responsibilities might be moving forward, and what the next couple of weeks look like for you.
Yeah. So this week was orientation for us and for UAB, especially because just the normal need of nurses anyway out in the workforce before this pandemic, happened. They didn't really want to push back the days that we were starting. So they said, we're going to try this for the first time. We're going to do our orientation, mostly virtual. There's only going to be one day this week that you come in, and it's to learn our computer system. When you come in, sign in, Germex, wash your hands, sit every other seat to make sure you're social distancing. You had people in there wearing masks and all this and that. And then when I start next week, starting Thursday, I will be working on the heart and lung transplant intensive care unit. So hopefully no one on that floor will have the coronavirus, because that's not a floor you want that to be around. And more than likely, I'll probably be wearing a mask 24/7, just not only to protect myself, but protect people that I'm with, because since I'm young and healthy, I could have it at some point and not even know. So we just always have to take those precautions.
And I know right now there are approximately right around 60 patients of coronavirus at UAB Hospital. And I think everyone that's on social media has seen the doctors and nurses from really everywhere around the country talking about this situation as it's unfolding and the battles that they're facing really on a daily basis. And I'm sure you know other people at UAB Hospital. You probably know some people at Children's. Just what is the mood like right now in this industry?
Yeah, I actually have some friends that work in the ER at UAB, and then I have a really close friend who's going to be my roommate. She works in the NICU at Children's. A lot of them, like in the NICU, she's wearing, a mask 24/7. They don't really, you're not allowed to have visitors there anymore, really, just to protect everybody. In the ER, it's tons of people coming in, getting tested, people waiting to get on floors, just, a lot of people coming in and out. And there's I think one pod or something dedicated to people that don't have it, just to try and, separate even just within the people in the ER that are coming in, so you don't spread it. You're trying to contain it as much as you can in an environment where people are constantly coming in and out and they're sick. But just always, especially in the ER, always wearing masks, washing your hands, using Germ-X whenever possible. A lot of them, some of them have told me that, they have to wear the same mask. They take it home, they wear it again, which is not what you do at all. You usually wear a mask in a patient room, come out, take it off, throw it away. But just because to make sure that everybody can have a mask, the people are wearing the same ones. I mean, even the homemade ones people are coming in with wearing.
Being in the healthcare industry, how closely have you been following this whole situation? And when did the seriousness of it start to kind of enter your mind?
I would say when I was hearing about how many people it was, infecting in China, and then people getting worried over here. And I'm like, it's going to get over here no matter what. If it's that contagious, it's going to get over here no matter what. We just have to try and do wash your hands, stay away from people that might even be sick. Don't, try not to travel, be in large crowds, stuff like that. But I mean, I love to follow it, just because watching, the CDC and everyone work together. And I can't wait for that day when it's we have a vaccine, or this is what handles it. And I mean, with some of the medications, a couple of them for malaria that they've seen, especially within the last couple of days, it's coming out, hey, these are pretty effective. Let's try and use them. And I think that they're trying to see if it also prevents that. And just to even find a medication to take care of a patient, to give a patient, knowing that it increases their odds or even treats it, that will be such a relief for everybody. Because from then on, it's not, oh man, we don't know what works, so let's just try everything. It's kind of hey, this has worked before, so now we can kind of, calm down just a little bit and know that we have something out there that can help.
Your professional career is really just beginning, but what are some of your long-term goals?
Eventually, I want to do travel nursing for a little while. I want to get a few years of critical care under my belt, because eventually I want to be a nurse practitioner and work in the ER, because that's my passion. But just working around nurses, and especially my preceptorship, people saying, hey, that's a nurse that has 8 years, 10 years of critical care experience. If stuff starts going wild, go to her. She knows what to do. So I want a couple years of critical care experience under my belt. That way people can, trust me and know that I know what I'm doing, because I've had years of experience in that. So
I talked to Carly a week or two ago, and we talked about how you were kind of getting thrown right into the fire your first couple of weeks as a nurse. And she said that this is the kind of situation that you thrive on. Would you agree with that?
Yes, very much so. I think that's why I like the ER so much. Give me the craziness, give me the stuff where I'm running around 24/7, super, super busy, the high intense stuff. That's honestly what I love to do. So yeah, this is definitely something that I thrive on. So.
Well, Olivia, I really appreciate your time. I know that all Samford fans, staff, alumni are proud of what you're doing, and we wish you the best of luck with your nursing career moving forward.
Yes, thank you so much.
That's Olivia Crozier. I'm John McAfoose. That'll do it for this edition of The New Normal. Stay tuned for more interviews with athletes, coaches, and staff. in the coming weeks.